The next process is to start the coding process. So the coding process is we open our transcript. So we're going to open one of the transcripts. We select information that is significant by selecting the quotation that is significant that can address our research question. And then what we do is that we create a code and then we connect the quotation to the code, right? So these are the steps that you have to follow to go through all the transcript. And let me show you how it's done. Let's go to MAXQDA. I double click on the P1 and it will show here. You can even bring this one a little bit down so that you can see everything, right? So what we're going to do is that go through and identify information that is significant, and then you'll be able to develop a code representing that. So as we can see here, I can see here long hours, right? It's one of the causes of burnout. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to develop a label called having long hours that will represent this concept of long hours, right, that they mentioned. So what you're going to do is that you can go to research question 1 here, right, and click on the plus sign and then type long hours. I put the long hours in parentheses because it's participant own words, right? But you don't have to do that. This one just remind me that it's participant own words. So having long hours. And you can give it a color if you want, right? And then what you can do here is it's not required, but you can define what the code represent, right? So you can type this code represent participant expression of having to spend a long time at work, right? So you can type that information here. But as I said, it's not required, especially if, you can easily determine what this code represents. But if you have time, it's good to define the code. What is your definition of the code? How do you operationalize the code, right? So what does the code represent? Defining it is helpful, especially when you go beyond developing codes and also categorizing the code to develop themes, right? So you could do that, but as I said, it's not required for you to define that. So when you are ready writing about what this code represents, you click on OK, right? And that information comes here. Then this is an empty container. There's nothing inside. What you have to do is to drag and drop what you have selected and connect that information to this one. And when you connect, that information comes here. Let's try the next one, right? So the next one is about numerous clinical and administrative tasks, right? So as you can see here, this one is significant. It's one of the causes of burnout, right? So you decide what label do you have to use to represent that. One label could be having numerous work-related tasks, right? So you can click on the plus sign here and then type your code and also define if you want to define, as I said, it's not required, and click on OK. Now you can drag and drop that information to this one. So that's what you're going to do. You go through, identify information that is significant, and drag and drop. Let's try another one. Let's say spend time in prayer and reflection, right? So the label that I gave to that is engaging in meditation. Engaging in meditation. So let's see. You select this one and then you go here. I click on the plus sign. This one is addressing research question 2. So I go to research question 2, click on the plus sign and click on put the information here, the label, click on OK and drag and drop, right? So that's what you're going to do. And as I always tell you, there are more than one way of coding, right? Another way is to right click here and go to new code, right? And then you go ahead and create a code, right? So there are always more than one way of doing stuff, right? So you go through, right? So when you finish the first participant, you go to the second participant, you double click that. In the same way, you go through and select information that is significant. So let's say that I haven't work-related tasks. I think this place talks about having a lot of work-related tasks. So you see here that we don't have to create a new code, right? Because this one talks about completing a lot of tasks, right? A lot of things they have to do. So You have already created a container that's related to this one. So you just select and drag and drop it into this container, right? So the principle here is that you create a new container if the existing container cannot be connected to the evidence that you have seen or the quotation that you have found in the data. So that at the end of the day, you may have more than one quotation in a specific container or code. So see the codes as containers, and then you go through the data and drag and drop that information into the container. If you don't find anything that can be dropped into, then you create a new container, which is a code that can be used to connect to the new evidence that you found. So that's how the coding process is going to be. Let me show you how the final product looks like. Let me open one of the projects, and then you see how the final product look like. So as you can see, they have gone through all the transcripts and have created containers for each of the research questions. And then as you can see here, this container for the research question is 0, but when you try to collapse, then it add everything up to 15, right? So the 15 is all the significant segments. 15 significant information are connected to this research question one, and then 12 significant information are connected, right? 12 quotations. When you open it, you can see that for this, having numerous work-related tags has 4 significant information. If you want to see that, you can click on that, double click on it, and when you click on the code, it will show you the quotation, right? So you see that this is from P2, and this is a quotation, this from P1, and this is a quotation. So if you want to see what is in the container, you double click. And then if you want to see what the quotation is, you click on the respective research question and then a respective code and related to the research question, then you can see the quotation here. Even here, you can even recode. If you want to code here, let's say I want to code this one, I can select and then go to code retrieve segment, right? Click on that. And you can also even create a word cloud here based on this information. I don't know whether this one will work. It's not a lot of words there. Oh, it was able to work. So you can even create a word cloud based on only this segment or this code, right? Only these 2 segments, right? So you see that I've gone through all and I've created codes based on the significant information. If you, let's say you want to see all the significant information related to research question 1, what are you going to do? You first activate all the documents, right? Or you can activate individual document, or you can click on this one to activate all the documents. So when you activate, there's a little circle here, right, to activate, right? And you can see that 5 documents have been activated. Then I also want to activate all the codes under research question 1. And when you do that, all the segments will be here. See all the segments or all the quotations that are related to all the codes for research question 1 will be here, right? And then you can do further analysis. You can even click this one to create a word cloud based on only the quotations related to research question 1. You can go to format and change the colors. If you want to change the colors, you can change it to any color that you want. You can change the arrangement the way that you want, right? And you can export it. If you want to export, you go back to start and export that and use it if you want to use. So that is what I have for you concerning developing code.